rotating a point and giving it its coordinate. All right, so in the last week when we were talking about transformations, and again, transformations are just how you move a figure around a coordinate plane. And sometimes transformations are also about making a figure larger or smaller. We haven't quite gotten there yet. But in this case, we're going to be rotating it. So you're literally just going to take an object and turn it. And you rotate it about a point. What that means is there's one point, or say like the middle here, where you're literally just taking it and the whole thing is attached to it, and you just turn the whole thing from that one point. So you just twist it around one point. So one point shouldn't really move. So it tells us the figure below has a point marked with a large dot. All right, so we can see the figure, we can see the dot. First, rotate the figure 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. Then give the coordinates of the marked point in the figure below and in the final figure. So first, what's the origin? Well, the origin is just this middle point right here. So this right here is the origin. That whenever they reference the origin, or really when we're starting on a coordinate grid, a coordinate plane, we should start at this origin. All right, so then this is what it looks like, what we're going to type into. So let's scroll down here and see what they start doing. So we must rotate the figure 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. We start the rotation by selecting the bold line in the positive x-axis. So there's this bold line here. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to just turn the figure. We're not actually going to have to drag and move the figure. What we do is we click on this line on the next page. It'll make a little more sense when we're doing it. And we can literally just turn the figure with this line. So if I turn it once, that's 90 degrees. If I turn it 2 times, that's 180. If I keep going, that's 270. If I go all the way around, that's 360. So each one of these turns is 90 degrees, going from one axis to the next. So if I take this bold line and I pull it 1 over 1 axis like this, so I go from X to Y, then I just turned it 90 degrees. Make sure you're going clockwise, because that's what it asked us to do. So pay attention if it's saying clockwise or counterclockwise. Clockwise would be with the clock. Counterclockwise would be backwards on the clock, right? And then 90 degrees means we're only going to go once. So then here we can see the figure jumped over into the correct space here, so it rotated. And now I just give the coordinates of the original and the coordinates of the end. And we're just looking at one point for the coordinates. All right, so let's actually look. Whoops. Click my. All right, so it says the figure below has a point marked with a large dot. All right, we can see the figure with the large dot on it. First, rotate the figure 180 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. So we see this bold line here, and you can see how my cursor turns into a large pointer finger. So I want to click on that, and then it looks like it grabs it. I don't have to hold it, so I'm not clicking and holding. It'll just hold on to it until I click again. So I want to go counterclockwise. So we're thinking about a clock. I want to go backwards on the clock. I don't want to go clockwise. It says counterclockwise, so go backwards. So I want to go, here's 90. That's one turn. But I want to go 180, so I want to go a whole nother one like that. And now I can click and I can leave it. So this line, this bold line, should land on top of one of the axes when you're done. Because they're either going to have you go 90, 180, 270. I doubt they'd go 360 because you'd land in the same spot, but we'll see if they do that to us at some point here. So now we're just going to put the coordinates in here. So we just have to figure out, for the original coordinate, this dot, what's the coordinate? So the first number, we go right 2. The second number, we go down 3. So we have right 2, which is positive 2, down 3. Remember, coordinate is just directions. How did you get there? So positive for the first number means I went right. If it's a negative number, it means I went left. The second number is, if it's a negative, it means I went down. So that's why we put -3. It's a positive number, it means I went up. So this is just a direction system. That's all it is. So now for this one, I went left 2 and up 3. So I went left 2 and up 3. Do you notice how these are opposites? I'm pointing that out because it's actually one of the, it depends on how far you're turning it, but if you're turning it 180, all you do is switch the sign. So I went from +2 to -2, -3 to +2. So it depends on how far you're turning it, but if you're turning it 180 degrees, doesn't matter clockwise or counterclockwise, this is what happens to the point, as long as we're talking about around the origin. So sometimes we do get a little more complicated, and we rotate it around, like, say, this point instead of around the origin. And that does change things a little bit there as far as how this is calculated. So if it's around the origin, 180 degrees, that's the relationship. All right, next one. Yay. Next one we have, all right, so here's our figure with the large dot. We want to rotate the figure 270 clockwise. So now on a clock, we're going to go the correct way on a clock. So I want to grab this and I want to click it so that I have the grab, and then I want to go 270. So here's 90. Here's 180. If I go one more, that's 270. So each time is 90 more. So 90 plus 90 is 180, plus 90 is 270. So each time I go to the next axis, it's another 90. And if I had gone one more around, I would have landed right where I started. So if it'll let me do that, see, it lands right where we started here, right like that. Now if I start going backwards, so I kind of messed that up when I did this, it restarted. If I go backwards, this will actually mark me wrong. Even though it's the right spot, that's showing that I'm going counterclockwise. It wants me to go clockwise, so I have to make sure that arrow is going in the correct direction also. Because even if I land in the right spot by going counterclockwise, it asked me to go clockwise. So be careful about that. All right, so we're going to do the original figure here. So we had to go left 3 and up 4. So left 3, up 4. And for this one, it's not just going to swap because we're not doing 180. So let's see what the relationship is here. So I have to go left 4 and down 3. So now I switched. The 3 and the 4 switch spots. The 3 is still negative, but the 4 is now negative also. So the relationship with 270 is that you switch X and Y, but only the Y changes signs when you flip it. The X stays the same. So it's actually another relationship there. Let's check. And we're good. One more. Okay, so here's our figure with the large dot. And we're going to rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. So I want to click, and I want to go 90 degrees counterclockwise. So remember, this arrow that it's showing you needs to be going that direction so that we're going counterclockwise. And it's only one turn. So there we go. We've turned it 90 degrees counterclockwise. All right, so for my original point, I had to go right 4 and up 5. So I had to go right 4 and up 5. And then for the final point, I had to go left 5, up 4. So left 5, up 4. Look at that. They switched again. So 5 and 4 switched spots, but now X changed. Or Y, sorry. Y changed signs again on this one. So this one's very similar to the last one. They switch spots, and we're not writing out the full rule. We will get there eventually. I'm just showing you there is a relationship with the points on this one. As long as we're doing kind of simple turns, 90s, 270, 180, we do have simple rules on this. All right, let's click check. And we got through another one.